Hey, this is the board game History of the World from the Avalon Hill Game Company. It is long out of print. It's been reprinted by Hasbro, but quite a different format. So this is the old one, and there's no rules for it online that I can find. So this will be a how to play video. Let's check it out. Okay, here's a portion of the game board. We're going to be running our empires on this board. The board is divided up into lands, so like Arabian Peninsula, Nile Delta, those are lands. Seas, Eastern Mediterranean, Red Sea, and then oceans, which you can't see the label, but down here is Indian Ocean. Okay, and then, there's sort of these, like, I forget the term for it, but like barbarian areas. So Sahara Desert and Syrian Desert. You can't go into them, but barbarians might come out of them. Okay, so on the first turn, we're going to roll dice to see who goes first. The lowest die roll goes first. And that person is going to run a neutral empire first. The Sumerians, they're going to build that empire. It's going to be like over here somewhere. I'm not going to worry about that right now, but we'll just say that the map is going to be slightly seeded with a neutral empire. Okay, then they kick off picking empires. So the game's played over the course of 7 turns, which are called epochs, and each epoch comes with a small deck of cards. So there's epoch 1. You can see there's a bunch of empires on there: Egypt, Minoans, Indus. All those are going to be the empires in epoch 1. The players are going to play those empires, try to get the most points they can. Then epoch 2 comes along, different deck of cards, completely different empires. Each person's going to play a completely different empire. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to score points with this empire that you play. And then when you get this other empire and you finish it, it's going to score points. It's also going to score points for any of your older empires. So there's sort of a balance you're going to be striking in this game. It's, do I really go all out and try to get lots and lots of points with this empire, but I might leave them weak and they might get wiped out over the course of several epochs? Or do I only expand a little bit and keep them stronger, a little more dense and compact, so that they can last longer, so that when I play a future epoch or empire, I'm scoring points for them multiple times, because there's 7 turns or so. So anyway, so to pick the first empire, the person that rolled the lowest die roll goes first. And what they do is they, from this randomly shuffled deck, they draw the first card secretly. No one gets to see it. And they say, the Shang Dynasty. Okay, what are they? Well, they have a capital called Anyang, has a star there, capital. Capitals in the game are worth 2 points, so that's good. So having an empire that starts right off the bat with 2 points, that's great. You get the points at the end of your turn, though. They have 4 strengths, so that's the amount of their strength of their armies or culture, however you want to think about it. So we can compare it against all the others. You can look at the back of the cards while you're doing this and say, oh, most of them are 4 and there's a couple 5s, so it's not that big a deal. Where do they start? They start in Yellow River Land, which is in China. So we'll find out that different regions have different point values, and China happens to be a pretty good one for most of the game. So maybe they'd say, oh yeah, I like this. But let's say, if they like it, they just put it face down in front of them, keep it secret. And then it goes to the next lowest die roll person. Let's say they didn't want China. Well, they can pass it to another player, and that player's stuck with it. The player has to secretly has to put it face down and cannot tell anyone what it is, okay? Then, so let's just say they chose to give China away. That was their turn. So what that means is someone's going to pick their empire for them because it's going to go to the next lower die roll person. And maybe it was the person that received Shang Dynasty. And they're going to look at the card secretly and like, Egypt, well, I already have Shang Dynasty. That jerk gave it to me against my will. Well, I guess I have to give this to someone else, and so on. Maybe the third person, no one gave them a card. They look at it and like, oh, I like this. I'm keeping it. Okay, that's how it goes. On the following turns, the die roll does not determine the order of these. It's who has the least strength. So if you think about it, these are just 4s and 5s. They're all very close, so it doesn't matter too much. But over time, every turn you're going to get a new empire. It's going to have a different amount of strength. Whoever's the most strength over the course of the game has more of an advantage, right? They're luckier in getting their empires. So that means they get to pick last. Whoever's the most strength goes last, whoever's the least strength goes first. It's sort of a balancing mechanism. And tiebreaker is how many victory points you have. The least goes before the most, and so on. So let's go ahead, and we're just going to pretend we're doing like a two-player game here. And since I'm in this region of the world, let's just say there's two players, and they ended up with Egypt and the Minoans. One important thing about picking cards, not only what the empires are, and we'll talk about the traits that you might want to look at besides strength, the order they go in. So the Egyptians are the first player in this epic, the Aryans are the last. So you might want to know what order you're going into. So let's check this out though. So we can see Egyptians are first, Minoans are second. So we go, okay, let's see. Does anyone have the Egyptians? Now in a 6-player game, you know someone has the Egyptians because there's only 6 empires here, but some of the epics have 7 empires, so you don't always know what empire is going to be around. But yeah, so oh yeah, I'm the Egyptians, so you flip it over. What's interesting about this? So again, has a capital, so that's a free 2 points at the end of the turn, 5 strength, that's good. In this case, they have navigation. So it's a blue ship, and it shows what sea areas they are capable of navigating in. So it shows the Eastern Mediterranean and the Western Mediterranean. That means they are able to put ships there. You get a point for each sea you have a ship in, and they can also spread across water through those areas. So that's good. So what you do is you go get 5 strength points worth of troops for your Egyptians. You also adjust on the strength track, which is off the screen right now, that they got 5 strength points. And we take their capital, Memphis, and it goes in the Nile Delta according to the card, and we put it there. You always have to put your first strength point on your starting location. So this is Epic 1, it's Roman numeral 1, so you get 5 Roman numeral 1 in your color strength points, and you put 1 on the Nile, or on your start location. Okay, then you get your other 4, because these guys have 5 strength points, and we're going to place them spreading out from there. And how you do this will determine how many points you get. Because they have navigation in a sea zone, they must have at least 1 ship. So we'll swap one of these out for a ship. When you have navigation, you can always swap a strength point for a ship or vice versa. But you always have to start with a ship. If somehow you already had ships in all these sea zones, you could forgo that. Notice the ships do not have an epic marker, so they last for all your they count for all your empires over the course of the game. Okay, so now we're going to spread out. Now to score points, you get points for having you get a little bit of points for each area you have presence in. An area is a color-coded area of lands. So the Middle East is this sort of tan color. North Africa, this sort of blackish brownish area, and Southern Europe green, for example. Those are areas. So merely having presence in an area gives you points, usually. Let's take a look at how that works. So at the end of your turn, you go to Epic 1, cross-reference with the areas. So we can see having a presence in the Middle East gives you 2 points. Have a presence in North Africa 1, India 1, China 1. Okay? So if I just ended my turn now, which I can't because I still have some strength points to put down, I would get 1 point because I have a presence in the Middle East and 2 points for having a capital. So that'd be 3 points. But I'm going to get more than that. Note that Southern Europe is worth 0 points, even though one of the players starts in Southern Europe. The Minoans, Southern Europe is worth 0 points. But in the next epic, it is worth 2 points. And then the next epic, 3. So if they can build up in Southern Europe and withstand the test of time, they could score a lot of points over the rest of the game. Likewise, you're not stuck in Southern Europe, so the Minoans could expand into other areas that are worth points. Note India and China in particular are worth a lot of points over the course of the game. They go 1, 2, and then 3 the rest of the game consistently. So if you can get a good block in those areas for a long time, you're doing well. The other ones, Middle East starts out well, but then it sort of tapers off. But these are just for presence in a location. That's just you have 1 land under your control. You can dominate a location. That is, gives you double points. So if we dominate the Middle East, we get 4 points instead of 2. Domination is you have to have at least 3 lands and more lands than anyone else. Okay, so maybe we can try to do that with the Egyptians. And then you can even triple your points by getting control. That is controlling every single portion of the land, of the area. And so back here, that will drive how we decide we want to play. So we have to start with a ship if there's any sea areas that we have navigation in and we don't already have ships there. So what you do is you just start placing things in places you already control with your current epochs armies or adjacent to them. So I could, for example, spread out to Libya, and then I could spread out to Nubia, and then spread out from Nubia to the Nile, and then I could spread out from Libya to the Schatz Plateau. And then with this ship, I can drop it into either the Western or Eastern Mediterranean because, oh no, not true, into the Red Sea or Eastern Mediterranean. I can drop that in. So maybe we drop it into the Red Sea here. So that's one example. And at the end of the turn, what would I get? I get 1 point for each sea I have a ship in. So that's 1. I get 2 points for the capital. That's 3. Incidentally, a capital is 2, but a city, which you can get cities, is only 1. So anyway, that gives me 3. And then Africa is worth 1 point for presence, which means it's 3 for control, and I control it. So I would get a total of 6 points for my turn. And that's the end of my turn. Done. If somehow I was able to keep control of that by the end of the next epoch, North Africa is worth 2. So I would get 6 for control, 7, 8, 9. So I'd get 9 points next epoch, and then it just keeps on going. Not going to happen probably though. Let's look at a few other ways we could have scored points here. So we got 6 there, right? Well, I could have maybe foregone taking control of all of Africa. That was worth 6. Maybe I'd put 1 into Palestine. So now I'm in the Middle East. Presence in the Middle East is worth 2. So that got me 2 points right off the bat there. So right now I'm at 4. I'm at 5 for having that ship. So maybe I trade one of these in for another ship and drop it into the other area I'm allowed to control. So now I'm at, let's see, I have 4 strength on. And I still have 1 strength point left. Oh, I think in my earlier example I had 6 strength points by accident. So yeah, so I couldn't have taken over all of Africa. So you only get 5 for Egypt. So I have 1 strength point left. Where might I want to go? Well, I don't know. There's not much other good stuff here. So what would I have done here? That'd be 2 for the capital, 2 for 2 sea zones, that's 4. 1 for presence in Africa, that's 5, and then presence in Middle East, that's 2 points, 6, 7. So I got 1 more point. Let's look at one more example at the risk of being tedious here. So we have strength points here. Maybe instead, yeah, we have 5 strength points, so there's one down. Maybe we'll drop a ship there. So let's just say this is presence right now, that's 1, capital, 2, 3, control of the sea, 4. So maybe I will sail across with this guy. I can spread from my ships over to the Levant here. So now we're at 5, 6 for being in the Middle East. Note there's this like, it's a resource symbol, the pick and shovel. If you get every 2 resource symbols you capture on your turn, you can build a monument. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have half a monument. I can put this guy down here for the other half of a monument. As soon as you get that, you can build a monument in your color. You have to put it on your capital, and there's a few rules for where you put it if you don't have a capital or it already has a monument. Every monument in your color is worth 2 points. I think that's a optional rule, otherwise it's worth 1, but I like that rule. So then we still have 1 more of these, so I could probably eke out either 2 points by getting another point by having dominance in North Africa, which doubles the North Africa 1 point to 2, or dropping a ship into the sea zone. I'm not sure which would be better. I think maybe the ship in the sea zone is likely to last longer, maybe. So maybe that's what I do, and I think I got 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points. Incidentally, let's just say we had a few more points. Let me grab a few more points here. Let's just say we had 3 more points here. You know, I could keep spreading out. But incidentally, you can stack up to 3 points of strength. So that's where maybe you just want like one area to be really well defended. Maybe you want to do that in your capital, so it's harder for someone another player to take it. Also, you can always change a strength point in, so just throw it away, for a fort. A fort gives you +1 on defensive die rolls. So if you had a lot of troops, you might want to build a fort or 2 maybe. You can actually turn 2 strength points in to flip a fort, or sorry, to build a fortress. So, or 1 to, you can think of it as 1 strength point to build the fort and another to flip it to a fortress. A fortress is a fort that wins ties also, so it's just a slightly better fort. You'd have to have a lot of troops to make that worthwhile, I think. Just thought I'd point that out. So anyway, we have 5 strength points. We got 9 victory points on that turn. So let's go ahead and play the other empire, the Minoans, and maybe we'll show how to do some conflict. Oh, and one thing, another thing you can trade your strength points in, if I had an extra strength point, you can always double your ships. So you can trade a strength point in and flip a ship. So there's 2 ship silhouettes there. That means it has 2 strength. So your ships can be 1 strength or 2. So anyway, yeah, Minoans. Take a look. Like, okay, they're the second player. Their capital's in Knossos in Crete. They have 4 strength points, and they have the Eastern Mediterranean as a navigable area. So we have to get 1 ship, since they don't have a ship there yet. Start there. They're not looking so hot here, right? So first off, maybe we think about, just putting those there for a second. We're like, well, I got to get rid of this ship. It has to go in the Mediterranean. There's someone there. So that's going to be a conflict. So you just throw it down there, and it's going to be a conflict. When there's a conflict, you roll dice. The defender uses a colored die. The attacker uses white dice. And the attacker gets 2 normally, and the defender 1. So very strong attack advantage. Whoever has the highest roll wins. And so the attacker, of course, picks their favorite number from the attack. And if there are ties, you just keep re-rolling. There's other things that might affect that. So I'm just going to roll for both here. So the Minoans are attacking the Egyptian fleet. Okay, so the Minoans would, of course, say I have 6, which beats a 5. So this fleet is destroyed. Okay. If it was not destroyed, well, and this guy was destroyed instead, well, the Minoans would have to decide, do I really want to try to get that sea zone? They already burned their 1 ship that they have to use. So they can keep attacking. So maybe I would say, like, no, I'm just going to expand up this way because I'm a chicken or something. Hopefully, like, next turn I can keep those guys there. Or maybe I just keep them all here and hope to keep that capital for a long time. But let's just say, since that roll actually happened, they took the Eastern Med. Okay, then, they only have 2 strength points left. What do they want to do? Well, they can go expand. They can maybe try to land, try to land in Africa for a point and 2 points for presence in Middle East. Okay, that might be okay. Maybe they want to attack an enemy capital. So let's talk about battles, though. So there's some places called difficult terrain. We can see some of it here. There's some forests here. There's some mountains here. Attacking across a strait where these arrows are, when you don't have your own ships there, that's also difficult terrain. And so when you're attacking into difficult terrain, the defender gets an extra die. So, and then there's some situations where basically through card play, where the attacker can get up to another die. So, yeah, so what might we do here? Oh, and attacking across the seas is also difficult terrain. So if this guy sailed through here to attack here, that would be difficult terrain. So the defender would get 2 dice. So sometimes maybe you want to land adjacent and then make your attack from the side. One thing I'm missing here, though. Oh yeah, even if you have a ship in the area, you can't use the ship to send troops places unless you have the navigation of the place where the fleet is. It might be a fleet from another empire, but your current empire doesn't have navigation there. So anyway, we have 2 more points. What might I do? I think I might actually try to attack this capital. So I'm sailing across here and I land my troop there. So that would be difficult terrain. I want the capital because I can try to prevent this player from getting those points every turn, but also I can, you know, get a monument, and well, we'll see. So let's go ahead and roll. So I got it. So 6 beats 4. And so this guy's destroyed. And then whenever you capture a capital, it flips to a city. So it's got sacked, basically. And whenever you capture a city, it is destroyed. Okay, and then I have one more. So maybe I would just leave it here. Or maybe I want to try to get more points. So maybe I'll just drop it into Palestine here. From either from across the sea or from over here. So what would my points be? 1, 2 for a city, 3 for a ship, 4 for someone else's monument. You only get 1 point if it's someone else's when you're using that variant. 5, 1 point for the city. Did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, presence in North Africa, 6. Presence in Middle East, 7, 8. So, you know, not bad. So the first guy got 9 points, the second guy got 8 points. And that's basically how it goes. In the next epic, if we're playing this way, the Minoans would get first draw because they had the least number of strength points. They had 4 strength points. Okay, and they're like, whoa, that's kind of a cool draw because I can continue expanding right next to my existing empires. Cool. But look, the Persians are a possibility here. Do I want to risk not getting that? Also, I can get the Greek city-states. Those are nearby. Or maybe I want to hop all the way over to China and start fleshing things out over there, trying to get points in several parts of the world, since we know China is worth a lot. That's kind of things you do. So let's talk about a few other nitty-gritty things. I think that's basically the bulk of the game. Play 7 turns, keep doing that, lots of fighting, expanding, getting points, always points. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get a bunch of little event cards. There's several categories, categorized by color. Each player will have 1 from each category, and you can play them on your turn, or as the card says. Like sometimes I think there might be some that you can play on someone else's turn. But let's take a look at one. So this one says it can be played on epochs 1 through 7, so anytime during the game. And so it says played during your turn. This empire that you happen to be playing adds +1 to each of its die rolls while attacking. So that's huge. So if you have a good, like, let's say you pulled the Persians, which has a very large army, this would be a great card to play because you get lots and lots of +1s as the Persians are expanding. There's other ones, you know, there's like a rebellion where you can play it against one of your opponents. Siegecraft to help with some attacking. There's disasters that can wipe out cities and monuments. Looking for one in particular. Oh, and there's also minor empires. So this is play before your turn. So right before you play your normal empire, if it was epoch 7, you could play, and you had this card, you could play Japan, which is a minor empire. Interestingly, it's minor, yet it's more powerful than, you know, basically the other empires in the first epoch. But yeah, so that's how that goes. And on your turn, you can play at most 2 events. The only last little detail I can think of that I didn't cover was that, maybe there's a couple, but oceans, which if you can navigate an ocean, you can move your ships in there just like a sea. But if there's an enemy ship there, you don't have to fight it. It's optional. The oceans are big enough that all the different players' fleets can coexist. There are cards that cause barbarians to attack out of these areas, so that's something to keep in mind, these sort of wild areas. And I guess probably the most important thing is keeping in mind, this is the points of your current epic and future epics for the different regions, because if you plan ahead and really build up, for example, India and China, you can end up scoring a lot of points. And one word of advice is try to spread out more. Don't just like concentrate on one country over and over. I think you get more points by having like presence everywhere instead of domination in one place. But you know, you'll figure it out. Hopefully that helps you understand how to play this game. Catch you later.